story begins outside a beautiful mansion, where the garden is fully decorated. There are many servants gathered to celebrate the birthday of a little girl. Everyone wishes her a happy birthday and gives her many gifts. Still, she does not look pleased at all. Her face shows no smile, as if happiness forgot to attend the party. A maid walks up to a man who looks like the girl's bodyguard and whispers something in his ear. The man stiffens slightly, and the girl notices it immediately. After seeing this, she suddenly runs away from the crowd. She goes deeper into the garden and sits alone on a swing. She looks very sad. From what she overheard, she understood that her parents would not be able to come to her birthday. As she sits there quietly, a cute boy about her age appears and asks if she is okay. She glances at him with teary eyes. The boy looks at her with innocent curiosity. He is holding a few flowers in his hand. He offers them to her and explains that they were meant for his mother and are very precious to him. Without hesitation, he gently places the flowers in her hair. The girl feels special and smiles softly, something she had not done all day. At that moment, a man calls out the boy's name, Eiji. The boy freezes for a second, then leaves in a hurry, as if life is already late for him. The girl wants to thank him, so she follows after him. A funeral is taking place at Eiji's house. His father holds a photograph of the boy's mother as men quietly load a coffin into a van. Eiji stands beside him, small and motionless. The girl realizes that his mother has died and that the flowers he gave her were his mother's favorite, the one thing that mattered most to him. The scene then shifts forward in time. Eiji is now a teenager. He is annoyed by the numerous alarms his father has set to wake up, each one louder than the last, yet completely useless. He gets out of bed and makes some soup. Then he goes to his father's room to wake him up. He shouts, but his father does not respond. Eiji turns off the alarms one by one, thinking that these alarms have more ambition than his father. Still, his father continues to sleep. He mutters about winning the Utagawa Prize, a famous award for writers in Japan. His father is a writer, but not a successful one. Our lad sighs and wonders how someone can chase a prize when they have not even chased a deadline. Finally, our MC, the unpaid house manager, wakes him by reminding him about his interview for a new part-time job. His father jumps up in panic, suddenly awake like rent depends on it. He begins to ask about his white shirt, the inexpensive one he bought from a deal, 3 for $10, although he could only afford to buy one. Then he starts to panic about his missing resume, which mysteriously disappears every time he gets fired from a job. Thoroughly annoyed, Eiji tells him that everything he needs is already laid out on the table. His father checks and finds everything prepared neatly. He feels deeply moved and opens his arms to hug him, but Eiji dodges the hug like a pro. He tells his dad to hurry to the interview. Even though his father's behavior is the main reason they are always broke, he still respects him for raising him alone. Later, the two of them eat breakfast together. Once again, they have bean sprout miso soup. His father proudly boasts that it is his specialty. With a gloomy face, Eiji remarks that it is not a specialty, just the only thing their wallet allows. His father then accidentally spills soup on his shirt. Eiji snaps and warns him to be careful, since it is the only suit he owns, like a limited edition outfit. He quickly grabs a cloth and wipes it clean. Then he realizes he will be late for school. He urges his father to finish breakfast and hurry to the interview. Before leaving, he lectures him to stop playing mobile games and start working properly, sounding more like a tired parent than a son. Before stepping out, Eiji stops in front of his mother's photo and murmurs a short prayer. He adds that he is leaving and promises to be careful. On the way, he notices an older woman trembling on the road. He asks if she is okay. She thanks him and mentions that she is heading to the train station and does not want to trouble him. He insists anyway, because kind MC does not know how to mind his own business. The older woman finally accepts. Eiji knows he will definitely be late for school now, but he does not regret it. He remembers his mother's words clearly. Be kind to others no matter the situation, and do good without expecting anything in return. She once joked that maybe God would reward him with a small present someday. Eiji never thought fate would take that line seriously. When he finally reaches school, the teacher scolds him for being late again, like it were a daily ritual. Eiji claims he overslept by mistake, but the teacher is not in the mood to listen. He lectures that no matter how good Eiji's grades are, a disordered lifestyle will ruin everything. Eiji tries to explain that it was not really his fault this time, but the teacher cuts him off and orders him to stop making excuses. He laughs and jokes that once Eiji experiences youth with a girl, everything will fix itself. He stands there, wondering if he should laugh or just mentally log out. The teacher adds that morning exercise will help him become punctual and improve his blood circulation, which may ultimately make his pale face look more alive. MC thanks him politely and returns to his seat. He knows the teachers would forgive him if he explained the real reason, but he does not care. He feels happier knowing he helped his father and a stranger, even if it cost him another lecture. After class ends, students start talking about a mixer happening later that day. Everyone chats about expensive plans and items. Everything sounds far beyond poor MC's budget. He realizes they live in a completely different world. Suddenly, his classmate Shigaroo walks over and asks if he is rereading anime. He corrects him and clarifies that it is a light novel, not anime. Shigaroo does not listen and starts ranting about his recent breakup, turning Eiji into his personal diary again. Eiji goes back to reading, hoping silence will save him. Shigaroo quickly adds that he was the one who dumped his girlfriend because he got bored, as if that improves the story. Shigaroo remarks that it is not a big deal for him because there are plenty of girls. He starts recounting his love stories again, like a broken playlist. Eiji wonders why Shigaroo only shares these stories with him, of all people. Shigeru brings up Aoi. This finally gets Eiji's attention. Aoi stands with her friends nearby, smiling and chatting about beauty products. Her friends ask her for help with some assignments, and she happily agrees to help them after school. She mentions some new samples her grandfather gave her, and her friends comment on her new bangs. She looks so dazzling that even the classroom lights feel unnecessary. Shigaroo praises her looks, her personality, and her intelligence, and casually adds that her grandfather is the president of the Jogasaki group. Eiji responds that he is not sure it would work, as their personalities are entirely different. Shigaroo gets annoyed and snaps at him to mind his own business, calling him an antisocial nerd who has never had a girlfriend. Eiji wonders how any of this became his fault. He also knows deep down that Aoi would never choose someone like Shigeru. MC then notices that Aoi is wearing lipstick that day. When she catches him looking, she smiles softly. Eiji panics and hides his face behind his book, activating Shy MC mode. A few days later, Eiji returns home and hears his father shouting as something terrible has happened. His father rushes toward him and announces that he has awful news. Eiji casually asks if his new book is selling well. His father immediately replies that it is impossible. He then admits that the interview failed again, but that there is something more important. Eiji questions what could be more critical when they are entirely out of money. His father stays silent. Eiji notices a pair of women's shoes at the entrance. His heart sinks. Inside, he sees Aoi sitting in the house. When she spots him, her face lights up and she runs over to hug him. Eiji turns red instantly, overheating like an old laptop. Aoi apologizes for getting carried away and introduces herself properly as Jogasaki Aoi. Calmly, she declares that she will be Eiji's fiancé from now on, dropping the biggest plot twist of poor MC's life. Both Eiji and his father are stunned. His father panics and demands to know when he started dating such a beautiful girl and made her his fiancée. Even MC himself feels like he skipped a whole episode. Eiji quickly insists that he has no idea what is going on. He explains that Aoi is just his classmate. He turns to Aoi and asks her to clarify what she means. She asks Eiji to remember the day he helped an older woman on the street. She reveals that the woman was her grandmother. Her grandmother likes to do everything by herself. That day, she tried to carry heavy bags and failed. She was struggling badly. Eiji appeared at the right time and helped her without asking for anything. Aoi thanks him again for his kindness. He responds that it was nothing special. Aoi disagrees. She says that not everyone would do that. She hugs him again and confesses that he was the only one who helped. Aoi continues, explaining that her grandmother noticed Eiji's school uniform and realized he attended the same school as her granddaughter. Impressed that he helped her so late and walked her all the way to the station, she told her husband. Aoi's grandfather decided to thank Eiji properly and used his influence to look into him. That is when they discovered Eiji was Aoi's classmate and the grandson of the chairman of the powerful Nikko Company, a corporation equal to the Jogasaki Group. With the two companies already discussing a partnership, they saw a marriage proposal as the perfect way to strengthen their ties. Eiji's mind freezes as Aoi hugs him again. He complains that she dropped too much information at once. When she asks what shocked him most, he admits it is learning he is the Nikko chairman's grandson. Gesturing at their shabby home, he questions how a chairman's family could live like this. Aoi only smiles and says the retro style suits it. Eiji fires back, asking if she even knows what retro means. His father finally confirms that everything Aoi said is true, promising to explain the details later. For now, he insists that Eiji carries the blood of the Nikko family. Even so, Eiji struggles to believe it. Helping Aoi's grandmother and suddenly being declared her fiancé feels unreal, far too kind for a life that has always been broke and unforgiving. Aoi hesitantly asks if he dislikes the idea of becoming her husband. Eiji admits that no man could reject getting engaged to the girl he has a crush on, least of all him. Aoi's eyes widen, clearly happy, and she hugs him again. Flustered, Eiji asks her to let him finish. He explains that they were barely more than classmates, and this sudden engagement is overwhelming. Aoi calmly replies that it feels natural to her. She would rather be with someone she sees every day than marry a noble son she has never met. Eiji points out that, in the end, he is also a stranger. Aoi smiles and says that being unfamiliar simply means they have more to learn about each other. Then she admits it was never a coincidence. She noticed from the start that Eiji was different. Instead of explaining further, she asks how he truly feels and whether he wants to be engaged to her. A quiet yes slips out before he can stop himself. Aoi beams, excited to begin their life as fiancés. In that moment, Eiji finally believes in fate. The white flower he once gave a lonely girl represented first love, and it was always fated that he would fall in love with her. The next morning, when Eiji gets ready for school and opens his door, he is shocked to find Aoi waiting right outside his house. She greets him cheerfully. Still half asleep, he asks what she is doing there. With complete composure, she explains that she came to walk to school with him, since they are now engaged. A lot happened the previous night. After Aoi left, Eiji panicked at the realization that he is now her fiancé for real. His father, however, seems far more relaxed, even calling him lucky. Eiji complains that it is ridiculous for something like this to happen through pure dumb luck. Zero effort, maximum reward. Wanting clarity, he asks his father how exactly he is connected to the Nico family. His father hesitates, and Eiji immediately senses something strange. Thinking back, he realizes that he has never heard anything about his grandparents on his mother's side, not even stories about their deaths. The truth clicks into place. They must have been part of the Nico family. His father confirms it. Eiji's mother was their only daughter. Eiji cannot help but ask how someone like his father ended up marrying into such a family. His father explains that his wife was disowned for choosing him. A wealthy family would never accept their daughter marrying an unsuccessful writer. The two eloped, married in secret, and were cut off completely afterward. Eiji doubts the story at first, but his father insists that everything Aoi said is true. Eiji then wonders whether his grandfather truly approved of the engagement. Still, his father brushes off the concern and focuses on the upside. This could be a huge opportunity. Marrying a rich and beautiful girl might finally change their lives. Maybe the poor MC house will even get renovated. As they walk to school together, Eiji cannot shake the feeling that if Aoi's family disapproved of his parents' relationship, there is no way they will accept his. Panic quietly builds as he considers rejecting Aoi properly, before her family does it for him. He tries to think of a way to explain it, but every possible approach sounds rude in his head. He wonders how someone who has never dated before ends up trapped in such a complicated situation. Noticing the tension on his face, Aoi asks if something is wrong. Eiji immediately brushes it off, activating classic "I'm fine" mode. She leans against his shoulder and reminds him that he can tell her anything now. Since they are engaged, she has the right to know. Around them, students begin whispering, noticing how close they are and speculating about whether they are officially dating. Feeling increasingly uncomfortable, Eiji suggests they keep some distance to avoid misunderstandings. Aoi looks genuinely confused and asks what exactly there is to misunderstand, given that they are already in a relationship. Eiji struggles to respond and eventually lets the topic drop. Later, during class, Eiji reflects on how exhausting it is to be chased by a cute girl. It is something he always dreamed of, yet experiencing it firsthand is far more draining than expected. The teacher then announces a paired activity. Aoi immediately expresses her wish to work with Eiji. Some classmates whisper that she must be worried about him being left without a partner. Aoi pulls out a few math problems she claims to be struggling with and suggests they go to the private library to discuss them. Eiji quickly shuts that idea down, offering to explain everything right there instead. As she blushes under everyone's gaze, he solves the problems rapidly and shows her the answers. The class concludes that Aoi is only close to him because he excels academically and can help her with math. Eiji feels a bit guilty, but also relieved that people see it that way. When lunchtime arrives, Eiji plans to escape to the rooftop once he finishes eating. Before he can leave, Aoi appears in front of him, carrying a large lunchbox, and announces that she made a special bento just for him. The entire class freezes. Eiji stands up, thanks her for working with him earlier, and says he wants to repay the favor. He asks her to come to the rooftop with him for a moment. Aoi hesitates, unsure what he means since they are already engaged, but the idea of meeting him alone makes her emotional. Eiji accidentally grabs her hand and immediately panics when he realizes what he has done. Aoi gently reassures him, telling him he does not need to be so shy around her anymore. On the rooftop, she opens the lunchbox, revealing an impressive spread of food. Eiji stares in disbelief and asks if she really made all of this herself. She confirms that she did, explaining that she learned from their household's chef. Eiji realizes how early she must have woken up to prepare everything. He thanks her sincerely and promises to eat without holding back, which makes her smile. As he looks more closely, Eiji notices that many of the dishes are completely unfamiliar to him. He points to one, and Aoi explains that it is called turn and that it is her favorite. She asks whether he likes it too. Eiji admits that he has never heard of it before. Unfazed, she continues introducing each dish one by one. Even though he cannot follow all of her explanations, everything looks incredible. Pure chef's kiss bento energy. As he prepares to eat, Eiji wonders when the last time someone made a bento just for him was, and he finds it really touching. Eiji is still stuffed after the meal. Aoi's bento is unbelievably good, leaving him wondering how she cooks so well. MC has no chill. Why has his life suddenly turned into a rom-com? Then reality hits, and he realizes he is walking home with Aoi, questioning how things even reached this point. Aoi mentions that she had a lot of fun with him throughout the day, especially during lunch. She adds that eating together with him has always been her dream. Eiji is baffled by this and wonders how that could be possible when she only recently learned about him. He asks whether her house is in the same direction as his. Aoi answers that it is not. Confused, he questions why she is still walking alongside him. When she explains her reason, Eiji is left stunned and cannot bring himself to accept it. He hurriedly explains that they cannot be alone together at his house, especially when his father is not home. Aoi calmly reassures him that there is nothing to worry about. Since they are engaged, she believes it is natural for them to spend their after-school time together. She even adds that she will properly greet his father when he returns. Eiji insists that this is not what he means, but before he can clarify further, Aoi steps inside the house and heads straight into his room. His room is filled with posters, photos, and action figures. Aoi looks around with interest, commenting that the room feels unique and fun. Eiji retreats to the kitchen and prepares some barley tea, apologizing that it is the only thing they have. Even though the tea is brewed a second time from the same barley, Aoi drinks it happily and remarks that it is light and easy to drink. Eiji feels terrible. He has no idea what to do next. There is a girl in his room, and that girl is his crush. Then it hits him. This is the perfect opportunity to explain everything and end the engagement. A plot twist is coming. Before he can begin, Aoi picks up one of his action figures and asks what it is. Eiji hurriedly brushes it off, claiming it is just a prize he won a while ago. He feels ashamed of himself for denying his hobby, especially when the figure belongs to the heroine of one of his favorite light novels. At the same time, he fears that Aoi might see him as a creep and break things off if she finds out he is a full-blown otaku. Unable to stop himself, he starts explaining the figurine in detail. One sentence turns into another, and soon he is rambling non-stop. Aoi looks tense, and Eiji wonders if he has finally succeeded in creeping her out. Instead, she reassures him that she actually likes it. She guesses that someone famous must have made it for him. Eiji confirms that it is the work of one of his favorite creators and admits that he usually cannot afford figures like this. However, he was lucky enough to win it in a lottery. Aoi seems genuinely pleased by that and remarks that the creator would surely be happy knowing the figure ended up with someone who treasures it so much. Hearing that, Eiji feels relieved. Then he remembers his real purpose. He is not supposed to be talking about figurines. He is supposed to end the engagement. He looks at Aoi again and notices that her expression has grown tense. Now he starts to worry that she might actually be disgusted by him. This time, she explains that everything is wonderful, but there is one unfortunate thing. She admits that she had no idea his preferences lean toward fictional characters like Gyarus. Eiji immediately panics and denies it with all his might. Aoi calmly points out that his eyes sparkle whenever he talks about Gyarus. Flustered, Eiji tries to explain himself. He says it is just a trend in otaku culture. The real world and the 2D world are completely different, and in reality, he prefers someone like Aoi. Halfway through, he realizes he is once again heading in the wrong direction. He has no idea why he keeps doing this. Aoi gently reassures him, saying she feels relieved knowing he likes her more than anyone else. She adds that she actually likes Shigaroo fashion and would love to dress that way herself. The image of Aoi cosplaying as a Shigaroo instantly fills Eiji with joy. She asks if she can borrow his light novels about that character. Eiji admits that he only owns a few volumes for now. Aoi happily accepts them anyway, saying she wants to learn as much about him as possible. Eiji imagines the two of them discussing light novels together someday. The thought excites him. It is the ultimate otaku dream. Still, he stops himself from getting too hopeful. doubting that she will actually read them. Aoi then asks when his father will return. Eiji explains that his father went out for a part-time job interview and probably will not be back anytime soon. Aoi looks straight at him, and his nerves immediately spike. His panic level skyrockets as he realizes they are alone. She moves closer and leans against his shoulder. Eiji freaks out and demands to know what she is doing. Aoi softly admits that she has always dreamed of spending time with him like this. She gently takes his hand. Completely confused, Eiji asks what she means, pointing out that they did not know each other before all this. Aoi moves even closer, clearly about to say something important. At that exact moment, the front door bursts open. His father storms in, loudly announcing that he failed the job interview and came straight home. Eiji is stunned by the timing. His dad interrupts everything. His father awkwardly claims that he did not mean to disturb them at such a moment. Aoi simply smiles and suggests they continue their conversation another time. After that, all three of them sit together to drink tea and talk. Eiji's father is still feeling guilty for interrupting them and ruining the mood. Eiji reassures him that it is fine, explaining that they were not doing anything like that anyway. Aoi confirms this with a smile, adding that they can be lovey-dovey any time now after the engagement. Eiji spits out his tea in shock. Hearing that his father also approves of her using him anytime she wants, nearly sends him into cardiac arrest. MC is literally dying. Trying to recover, Eiji reminds his father that he was saying something alarming a moment ago. His father tilts his head, struggling to remember. Eiji clarifies that it was about him failing his job interview again. He asks why his father came home smiling despite being rejected. He explains that he applied to a ramen shop this time because he wanted a job where he could eat unlimited ramen every day. The moment he mentioned that, he was rejected on the spot. Eiji yells at him for laughing about it and demands to know what his plan is for covering their living expenses. His father casually replies that Eiji does not need to worry, as everything has already been handled. He explains that he begged the young manager, saying that if he were not hired, he would not even make it to dinner that night. In the end, he was given some leftover bamboo shoots instead. Our lad is confused, but also impressed. He feels relieved knowing that, at the very least, they will be able to eat dinner. He drizzles mayonnaise over the bamboo shoots, turning them into a legendary side dish that pairs perfectly with white rice. His father then invites Aoi to join them for the meal. Eiji hesitates and tries to stop him, convinced she would never agree to eat something like that with them. However, the Queen of Curious Bites shows genuine interest and says she would love to try the legendary side dish. Eiji's father beams, delighted that Eiji has found such a partner. He reminds Aoi to call home and let them know she will be eating at Eiji's house. Aoi agrees, clearly excited to try Eiji's homemade cooking for the first time. As they prepare the meal, Eiji worries that she will hate such low-class food. Before eating, Aoi presses her hands together in prayer and takes a bite. At first, she shows no reaction. Then, all at once, she lights up and declares it amazing. From the rich flavor to the crunchy texture and soy sauce seasoning, it is a complete hit for her. Eiji stares at her in disbelief. She reflects that she has never eaten anything like it before. Eiji mutters that of course she hasn't, since it is such a cheap meal. His father chimes in, adding that he loves Eiji's cooking too. Aoi eagerly agrees and says she wishes she could eat it every day. Eiji warns her that she might not feel that way if she were wiser. In the end, he once again fails to bring up breaking off the engagement. As he thinks about it, he remembers that Aoi also wanted to say something important earlier. He wonders what it could have been. Although he finds the day enjoyable, Eiji apologizes to Aoi, explaining that his father can be a bit pushy and overly enthusiastic at times. She shakes her head, saying she does not feel that way at all and actually finds him incredibly fun. Eiji comments that his father still acts like a child despite his age. Aoi replies that it just means he is genuine and pure at heart. Eiji then remarks that her father must be impressive and innovative, considering the large business he runs. At that, Aoi's smile fades and she looks troubled. Eiji notices and asks what is wrong. She quickly smiles again and admits that her father is always extremely busy. He nods, thinking that must be the case, given that he is the chairman. After walking together for a while, they reach a wall. Aoi stops and thanks him for escorting her this far. Eiji is confused and asks if this is her home. She explains that her house is on the other side of the yard, beyond the gate, and that she will go on alone from here. Eiji wonders how much farther she still has to go. Then he remembers the light novel volumes and hands her the bag. Aoi says she will look through them later that night. Eiji tells her to take her time, explaining that the story is heavy and not something that can be finished quickly. Aoi assures him that she will see him at school the next day before stepping through the gate. Eiji watches as she enters the luxurious residence and realizes, once again, that someone like him does not really suit someone like her at all. The next morning, Eiji reads his novels in class as usual. Cutie Aoi approaches him and greets him cheerfully before handing back the bag of light novels she borrowed the night before. Eiji assumes she must not have read much and expects the bag to be returned quickly. However, to his surprise, Aoi comments that the story is fascinating. Eiji is shocked and asks if she really finished the entire novel in a single night. Aoi replies that she did. She explains that the writing is easy to read and the pacing is excellent, so before she realized it, the story was already finished. MC mind blown. She adds that she was completely hooked and couldn't resist turning the pages. Eiji can hardly believe that Aoi enjoyed the Gyaru next door. She even brings up the scene where the heroine cooks for her lover. Realizing she truly read it, Eiji gets excited and immediately starts discussing the story with her. Otaku vibes activated. Aoi mentions what happened in Chapter 2, page 156, which deeply impresses him. He nods and admits that he also got emotional at that part. Aoi explains that she read the scene twice and says she relates strongly to the heroine's vision as a girl. Hearing this makes Eiji genuinely happy. The two talk enthusiastically, completely absorbed in their conversation, while nearby classmates wonder what's going on with them. Suddenly the bell rings, signaling the start of class. Aoi quietly admits that she wishes they could talk longer. Eiji feels the same. Gathering his courage, he stands up as if about to say something important. In true non-flirt hero fashion, he asks if she would like to hang out after school so they can talk more about light novels. Aoi's eyes widen, and she immediately agrees. Both of them blush as class begins. However, Eiji spends the entire lesson in another world, thinking about Aoi. It's the first time he has ever discussed his favorite light novel with his crush, and it feels incredibly special to him. After classes end, they head to a nearby cafe. Sitting across from Aoi, Eiji is visibly nervous and sweating. He apologizes for inviting her out so suddenly, but she reassures him that there's no need to feel sorry. She tells him she would happily accept an invitation from him anytime and admits she's always wanted to visit this restaurant. Eiji asks if it's her first time at a fast food place. Aoi confirms that it is. They order burgers, and after taking a bite, Aoi looks pleased. Eiji is relieved and happy that she likes it. She asks if he comes here often, and he explains that he doesn't. Due to his family situation, visiting places like this is rare for him. Feeling sympathetic, Aoi offers him half of her French fries. She laughs and admits that she ordered too much and doubts she can finish everything herself. Eiji nods and agrees to help. As he eats, Aoi watches him with affectionate eyes. Then she picks up a fry and offers to feed him. Socially dead, MC immediately panics and feels extremely awkward. He tries to refuse, insisting he doesn't need to be fed. Aoi, however, tells him he has no choice. Unsure how to respond, Eiji freezes as she gently touches the fry to his mouth. In the end, she wins, and he opens his mouth to eat it. She asks how it tastes. Eiji coughs slightly and replies that it's really lovely. Aoi smiles, clearly happy to hear that. She then reminds him that Marinasu also made hamburgers in the Gyaru next door. Eiji agrees and says they sounded delicious in the novel. He points out that even though it's a rom-com, the way food is described could easily rival a gourmet story. Outside the restaurant, their classmate Shigaroo spots them together and wonders how Eiji managed to take Aoi on a date. The two of them are clearly having a great time. Later, back at school, Eiji packs his bag and reflects on the day. As he prepares to go home, he realizes how much Aoi has already made his school life feel more charming. Our happy-hearted lad glances at Aoi as she prepares to leave, still wondering what he should do about the engagement. She asks if they should walk to her home together again, and Eiji replies that it would be a nice idea. Aoi is clearly pleased by his answer. As they begin walking, Eiji keeps thinking that a poor, introverted otaku like him does not deserve such a beautiful young lady in his life. Even so, he truly enjoys spending time with her as he tries to explain everything to their queen. At that very moment, Shigaroo suddenly appears and calls Eiji's name in an angry voice. He demands to know what is going on between them. Eiji knows he cannot tell the truth, so he struggles to think of an answer that will not make things worse. He claims that it is just a coincidence that they are walking home together. Shigaroo rolls his eyes and shouts at him to stop acting dumb, pointing out that he also saw them together at the cafe. Eiji is shocked. Shigaroo accuses him of following Aoi all the time, but Eiji quickly denies it. Deep down, he realizes that no one would ever believe they could be dating, even if they were simply hanging out together. Thinking it might be better to let Shigaroo believe whatever he wants, at least to avoid causing Aoi any trouble, Eiji stops defending himself. Shigaroo assumes he has cornered him and begins lecturing Eiji, insisting that someone like him could never date a girl like Aoi. He continues to throw out cruel remarks one after another. Eiji does nothing but listen in silence. He already knows everything Shigaroo is saying, yet for some reason, every word still pierces his heart. Suddenly, Aoi raises her voice and tells Shigaroo that Eiji is not dull or lame at all. She clenches her fists, clearly angry. Shigaroo laughs and says she does not need to defend a stalker. Aoi firmly replies that Eiji is not stalking her and that she chooses to be with him of her own free will. He can hardly believe that someone is standing up for him. Shigaroo, on the other hand, is stunned. He asks how that could even be possible, claiming that Eiji is no match for her. In response, Big Mood Baddie declares that it is her choice, not something others get to decide. She tells the jealous Shigaroo that only her own feelings matter, not what anyone else thinks. With that, Aoi grabs Eiji's hand and pulls him away. As they leave, he reflects quietly. He realizes that from the very beginning, he had been too focused on what others would think about him spending time with Aoi. Whether society would approve of their relationship or not, he had never once stopped to consider his own feelings. Later, Eiji is lost in thought when Queen Aoi happily invites him to go on a date with her. Her face lights up as she explains that in her past life, she had already intended to go on a date with him. He is shocked and tries to understand what she means. She then asks if he has any plans for the next day. Eiji quickly shakes his head and her eyes sparkle with excitement. He realizes he is being swept along by Aoi's pace again, but sees this as his chance to show his true feelings. He admits that he has no plans and would love to go on a date with her. She becomes thrilled, hugs him, and exclaims that she is looking forward to it. Shigaroo is still nearby, watching the interaction, feeling extremely jealous that they are so close, and in school of all places. The next morning, Eiji faces the confusing task of deciding what to wear on the date. He rarely talks with girls, and now he is going on a date with Aoi. He considers his options: his prized Gyaroo t-shirt, which he loves but worries might be inappropriate, or other t-shirts and shirts that feel too dull. Time slips away as he agonizes over his choice. In the end, he plays it safe and chooses a simple outfit: a plain t-shirt and jeans. He looks ordinary, but he convinces himself that he is not out of place. Suddenly, someone calls his name. He turns to see Aoi in a beautiful dress, looking like a real-life goddess. Eiji's heart races, unable to comprehend what he feels. She smiles and apologizes for making him wait. He reassures her that it is not a problem, since he arrived a little early. Aoi confides that she barely slept last night because she was so excited about the date. Then she notices his expression and asks if something is troubling him. Eiji brushes it off as nothing serious, though inside he worries about going on a date in his cheap t-shirt and old jeans, feeling like a background NPC. Everyone around him seems to stare, and the thought frustrates him. She asks if they should begin the date now. In that moment, Eiji realizes that he has always worried about others' opinions instead of his own feelings. Gathering determination, he resolves to face his true feelings and agrees to start the date. They enter a mall, and Eiji is shocked when he learns where Aoi wants to go: a huge anime merchandise shop. He hesitates, asking if she's really sure. She explains that it's a place her fiancé frequently visits, showing pure green flag energy. Inside, he finds his favorite characters' posters everywhere. It is heaven for an otaku. They notice a section dedicated to the Gyaroo Next Door's new release. He is amazed by the selection and concludes that the shop owner must be a huge fan. They spot a giant cutout of the heroine, Marina, and laugh, imagining how much the owner must adore her. The two begin talking excitedly, like total nerds. Aoi discovers a special corner for novel merchandise. Eiji feels thrilled at the sight of items he rarely gets to see, but hesitates at the prices, recalling his poverty and the bean sprouts he eats all week. Aoi then pulls out her card and offers to buy everything for him, a wealthy girl move. Eiji quickly stops her, insisting he will only buy a badge, and asks what she wants. She blushes, sets aside the idea of buying everything, and admits she wants the same item. Lost in thought, she walks over shyly. Afterward, he takes her to the burger place again and asks if she minds eating burgers for lunch once more. She gladly agrees, noting that they taste delicious. She even produces a half-price coupon, making things easier for budget-saved Eiji. They sit in their usual spot, enjoying burgers together happily. Later, they stroll back toward their homes. Eiji realizes that Aoi keeps trying her best to make the date enjoyable for him by choosing places and food he likes. The day becomes truly memorable. He reflects that if he doesn't change himself, he will never be a good partner for her, just as his father failed to be for his mother. Now, he genuinely wants to improve. Eiji hesitates but calls out to Aoi, asking her to wait. She notices his pause and inquires if something is wrong. He admits that if she enjoyed the day, he would love to take her on another date soon, but next time, he wants to go somewhere she chooses. Aoi feels special and smiles, replying that she would really love that. Eiji has never dated before and is unsure how she truly feels about the day, but he knows he has had a wonderful time. He feels lighthearted the entire day and realizes he wants to spend more time with her, talking to her all day. For the first time, he desires something selfish, and that thought frightens him slightly. Meanwhile, Shigaroo lurks behind the bushes, watching them from a distance. His fists clench as he glares at them, feeling intense dislike for what he witnesses. The next morning, Aoi and Eiji arrive at school together like a cute young couple. Shigaroo waits at the classroom door. As soon as they arrive, he confronts Eiji, asking if he really came with Aoi again. Eiji remains silent, unsure what to say, but Aoi calmly affirms that they did, adding that they plan to keep coming together. Shigaroo suddenly shouts, declaring to everyone that Eiji and Aoi are dating. The hallway falls silent. Eiji is shocked and pleads with Shigaroo not to make a scene. Shigaroo retorts that there is nothing wrong in stating the truth. Aoi cheerfully confirms that it is true and does not mind the announcement. Whispers spread quickly, and students start staring, pointing, and gossiping. Shigaroo continues loudly, insisting that even if they are dating, they do not suit each other. He mocks Aoi's wealthy family, contrasts it with Eiji's poverty, and adds that his home looks like a falling-apart haunted building. He even insults Eiji's father, claiming he is jobless. Laughter erupts around them, and students ask how Eiji manages to survive. He stays silent at first, feeling tightness in his chest. Finally, he lifts his head and speaks. He clarifies that his father is not jobless, but a novelist. His voice shakes initially, yet he continues. He explains that even if his father has not sold many books, he works hard at part-time jobs and as a single parent. Eiji proudly states that his father raised him well, and because of that, no one has the right to mock him. Shigaroo laughs, questioning Eiji's pride in being the son of a struggling novelist. He admits it may look embarrassing to others, but he truly respects his father for pursuing his dream and never giving up, adding firmly that his father chooses his own feelings over public opinion, and that mindset inspires him as well. He emphasizes that what matters most are his pure feelings, not everyone else's judgment. Turning to Aoi, Eiji prepares to speak, wanting to express something important he has held back. Shigaroo interrupts again, demanding him to stop. Aoi shouts that she wants to hear Eiji's words. Enraged, Shigaroo declares that he will never accept their relationship and warns them to remember that always, his voice sharp and cold like a final boss. Eiji responds firmly that they do not need Shigaroo's approval. Furious, he storms off. As soon as he leaves, the surrounding students begin clapping, praising Eiji for his courage. They comment that he truly deserves Aoi, recalling all the small, kind things he has done over the years, helping with notes, staying late after class, and never refusing anyone in need. Aoi gently tugs Eiji's sleeve and encourages him to finish what he wanted to say earlier. His face flushes bright red. Though he struggles to find the words, he quietly accepts his feelings and realizes their truth. That realization feels heavy, yet warm. Meanwhile, a junior girl secretly observes from a distance. Her eyes sparkle as she watches Eiji-senpai, declaring that she won't forgive him. Later that day, during lunchtime, Aoi sits with her friends and talks about her relationship with Eiji. She casually reveals that they are recently engaged. Her friends are shocked and immediately become curious about Eiji. Aoi explains that, although he may seem ordinary at first glance, he is very special to her. Her friends start listing his good qualities one by one, praising his kindness and honesty. Aoi becomes flustered and slightly annoyed, then firmly states that they cannot think about Eiji that way because he is her fiancé. Meanwhile, Eiji walks through the hallway and notices a girl struggling with a large stack of books. She stumbles and falls. He quickly reaches out to help her, asking if she is all right. She grabs his hand to stand up but slips again, and this time they both fall to the floor. In classic rom-com fashion, the girl lands awkwardly. Eiji asks her to move aside a little. The girl quickly apologizes and asks if he is hurt anywhere, calling him senpai. Eiji reassures her that he is fine. She looks relieved and says she is glad to hear it, since he helped her and ended up falling on her instead. He then offers to carry her books. She hesitates at first, but he takes them anyway, warning her that it is dangerous to carry so much alone. The girl smiles and tells him that he is very kind and has a big heart. Eiji shrugs, saying it is no big deal and that anyone would help in that situation. She thanks him again and calls him by his name. Once they reach their destination, Eiji looks shocked and asks how she knows his name. She suddenly grabs his hand and says that this is the second time he has helped her. She introduces herself as Hashino Hikari, a first-year student, and mentions that they met before. She waves at him and leaves, saying she will see him around. Eiji stands there confused, trying to remember when he helped her the first time, but the memory does not come back. The next morning, as Eiji walks to school again with Aoi, he is still thinking about what kind of connection he has with Hikari. He suddenly snaps out of his thoughts and tells himself that he should not think about other things while he is with Aoi. Just then, he hears Aoi quietly mumbling something about him being hers only. Eiji asks her what she is saying. Then she blurts out that many people are talking about him lately and that he is becoming popular among girls. She admits that it makes her jealous, since he is engaged to her. Her jealousy unlocks, and she ends up saying everything out loud by mistake. Eiji reassures her not to worry and laughs, saying they must be joking around. But Aoi points out seriously that people are actually finding him attractive now. Before he can say anything more, Aoi suddenly remembers that she has a class duty that day. She explains that she has to hurry and runs off, leaving Eiji standing there alone, watching her go. As soon as she leaves, Hikari walks up to him and cheerfully says good morning. Eiji greets her back and calls her by her surname, which she clearly does not like. She makes a small face and asks him to call her by her first name instead. He explains that he cannot suddenly do that when he does not know her well enough. Too fast, too soon. She then clarifies that she only wants to thank him for what happened the previous day. Eiji reassures her not to worry about it and insists that it really is not a big deal. Hikari looks relieved and says she is delighted that Eiji is so kind to her without any reason. She suddenly grabs his arm and explains that it is because he is too kind. From the first floor, Aoi watches them together, curiosity piqued. She sees them happily talking and walking. Later, in class as the lecture ends, Eiji thinks that Aoi hasn't spoken to him all day. Aoi rubs the board, deep in thought, as he tries to approach her. Suddenly, someone calls out, "Senpai!" It's the troublesome junior again. The interruption catches Aoi's attention as well. Eiji asks her if everything is all right. Hikari blushes and tells him not to speak to her so politely, saying he is shy. Then she smiles and asks him to go home together. Eiji is shocked. Hikari hugs his arm and comments on how wonderful he is. At that moment, a sharp, angry voice calls Eiji's name from behind. It is Aoi, clearly upset. She demands to know who the girl standing next to him is. Eiji instantly feels doomed. He explains that she is a first-year junior and that he only met her the other day. Before he can explain further, Hikari suddenly shouts that they did not just meet and that their relationship has already progressed to the next level. Aoi freezes in shock. Hikari then looks at Aoi and asks Eiji who the old lady in front of them is. Aoi immediately bristles and demands to know who she is calling old. Hikari calmly replies that Aoi is 2 years older than her, so she counts as old. She even adds that the ribbon Aoi is wearing looks really lame, a critical hit moment. Aoi snaps back, reminding Hikari that she is from the Jogasaki family and already engaged to Eiji. She explains that Hikari has no idea what kind of relationship she has with him, and that a child like her has no right to interfere in their personal life. Hikari, however, turns to Aoi and claims that if their engagement is only verbal, it doesn't really count. She boldly declares that she has fallen in love with Eiji, like a plot twist, and insists that she and Eiji were destined to be together. Eiji and Aoi both freeze, shocked by her statement. Eiji thinks that his peaceful life has clearly been destroyed. Aoi asks Hikari what she even means by that. Hikari rolls her eyes and calls her an old hag again. Aoi warns her not to dare say that again. Eiji tells her it is highly disrespectful. Hikari smiles and says she will listen to him because he is kind, hugging him tightly like a clingy cat. From the other side, Aoi grabs his hand, demanding that Hikari let him go. But the gal laughs and says she doesn't have to listen. Aoi insists she must because he is her fiancé. Hikari tugs him the other way and teasingly asks if taking him would prove her love. Aoi frowns and says she will never let that happen. Eiji stands frozen, unsure what to do, and asks both of them to calm down. Hikari apologizes for being a bit aggressive, admitting she just can't resist him. Before he can respond, she puts her finger on his lips and commands that he cannot say a word yet. She adds that, in the end, he will confess his love to her, but until then, she won't hear a thing. She looks at Aoi and declares she will never lose to a spoiled girl with a sheltered upbringing. Then she waves goodbye to Eiji and finally leaves. He stays silent for a moment, apologizes to Aoi, and promises he had nothing to do with it. The next day, Aoi reaches his house and sees Hikari close to him again. She doesn't say anything and quietly walks away, looking very sad. The following day, she rushes to his house, grabs his arm tightly, and asks him to walk to school with her. He notices she is a bit more assertive than usual, almost like a power move. Suddenly, Hikari jumps out from the bushes, teasingly asking what she is doing with her love. She confronts Aoi, mocking her for lying in wait for him and complaining that it is overbearing. Aoi starts crying, hurt by her words. Hikari boasts that she has one advantage over her because she is easygoing and confident she can get along better with him. She grabs his hand and asks Aoi if she should switch places, shocking him because he hates overbearing behavior. Later, at school, while the boys play football, Hikari shouts encouragement to him, surprising everyone. The classmates ask if she is his fan, and he panics, insisting she is just a friend. Aoi thinks Hikari is doing this to keep her away and feels it is unfair. Later still, as he comes out of the restroom, Hikari offers him a handkerchief, leaving him shocked. Aoi thinks even the toilet scene is too far. Hikari continues to poke and tease him in class, in the garden, and on the stairs, leaving him exhausted. Every time he hears bushes rustle, he worries it's another ambush, realizing he cannot deal with being constantly chased by a cute girl, even though it feels like a scene from the light novels he reads. He thinks about Aoi, but still feels overwhelmed. As Aoi packs her bag to go home, Hikari grabs him again, insisting they walk together and saying he cannot refuse because Aoi is busy. He talks to her about a popular light novel, explaining the story and the main kuhai character who constantly confesses and annoys the main character. He admits he wishes he could be in the story to have a cute kuhai always around. He realizes, though, that real life is different. Hikari is shocked by his words, but he assures her she is pretty and that he is glad she feels that way. She brags about the story and complains that it is unfair to call the kohai a nuisance. He realizes this is the second time he has helped her and asks what it means. She explains that it is because of him that she has changed, and she will never give up.
Here I am, know it's been a while. I was in denial about my love. Here I stand, I know I walked away.